Welcome to the Special Needs Mom Show. I'm your host, Trey Kearney. This is my co host.
Pat Ward.
And we are here to just focus on what special needs moms need, not the children, the moms. There are so many resources for our children, there's so many activities, but we always leave the special need moms out. So, me and Pat have come together to give us a safe space to share, right, Pat?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we are just ready to get started. So we have a special guest with us today. Her name is Nicole Horton. So we're going to bring her right in. And Nicole, when you come in, we just want you to share how you got here, how you got to be a special needs mom. So welcome, guys. Nicole Horton.
So at around 9 months, I started to notice that he was different from how my daughter was at 9 months. So I, waited a little bit longer, but then went to his pediatrician, and she felt at the time that Aiden was okay. But bless her heart, she did call later on that evening after his visit, and it was pretty late actually. And she apologized for it being late, but she said that she just felt like Aiden was on her heart, and that we needed to get the ball rolling as far as testing and things for him. So she sent us for genetic testing, which at the time came back fine. There were no genetic abnormalities. The only thing that came back that was a little off was neurology. His brain scans showed that a little bit of his brain matter had been damaged, but not severely. However, cerebral palsy was what she felt like Aiden had. So I hit the ground running. I don't know what happened except God, but I know that I turned into a different person that day. I turned into somebody completely different. I wanted to know all things. I wanted to educate myself. He was an early intervention. I was, in the therapist's face, like, well, what does this mean? And what does this look like? And I was very, very into trying to figure out what happened, because from my knowledge, cerebral palsy stemmed from something, whether it was preemie or, oxygen deprivation at birth. Like, I always thought, and what I researched was that there was a cause of it. And I had a perfect birth. APGAR score was a 9 for him, so I felt like I was missing something. So for 6 years, we just rolled with the cerebral palsy diagnosis. I just knew. I knew something else happened, or there was something that just didn't match. So I decided to get a job where Aiden got his care at, which is at Children's Specialized Hospital. At the time, I was in Mountainside, and all of his medical team was there, except his pediatrician was outside of the hospital. But working there, I got to know the special needs pediatricians and the developmental pediatricians, and I made an appointment for Aiden to see one of them. And the first visit, he said, Aiden doesn't have cerebral palsy. That's not it. And I don't know, I know this may sound a little strange, but I was so relieved. I cried and I cried, and I said, I knew it. I just knew there was something else. And, I'm blaming myself, because I'm like, did I do something wrong during my pregnancy that I wasn't aware of? I was taking Tylenol because I had a toothache during my pregnancy. Like, I beat myself up bad for 6 years. And when he told me that it's a genetic disorder, and I said, no, we went through genetic testing. He said, how many years ago was that? And I said, well, he's about to be 7. He said, there's so many different things between then and now that can change genetic wise. And there's different tests out there. And sure enough, we went for another round of genetic testing, and the geneticist said Aiden has a very rare genetic disorder that mimics cerebral palsy. It's called GRIN, GRIN, the number 2, B as in boy, developmental delay. So that particular gene is the one that mutated and during conception and caused Aiden's multiple disabilities. So from then on, I just I've done everything that I possibly can for him. I will continue to do that. But when I got the genetic disorder confirmation, I then went into a whole nother realm of meeting families that shared in the same disorder as he did. Coincidentally, one of the students at his school has the same disorder. They're in high school together now, but so me and her mom have connected, and we've been, in different forums and, talking kind of like this, sharing our stories with other families. But I will say, although I was relieved that, finally I got an answer, all these years later, it still doesn't change the fact that, Aiden is nonverbal. He walks somewhat, but it's assisted. He can't walk independently. He functions probably now at maybe a two-year-old level. I have to feed him. He has a special puree diet. He can't chew. So everything that I prepare his dinner, but I have to break it down into a blender and then feed him. He uses diapers. So the diagnosis changed, but the symptoms and things like that are still the same. So now it's just a matter of, now that I'm out of what it is and what happened, now it's his quality of care and his quality of life and all that I can possibly do for him, to make him comfortable, make sure that I'm advocating for him and getting him all the care that he, qualifies for and that he ultimately deserves. But I will say, as he gets bigger, the physical part right now is the challenge for me because I do, take care of him by myself. So other than that, I think although we've gone through all these things, it's he's an extreme blessing. He's changed my life tremendously. Even the ones around me who they're amazed by Aiden every day, just by his spirit and what he brings when he's around people. So overall, I'm stronger for it. I'm so appreciative. My empathy level has gone through the ceiling. I've already been an empath, most of my life, but now it just seems like it has increased by 1,000. The way that I see the world, the way that I see people, the way that I see, how people are treated and such. So, but yeah, I think that's pretty much the backstory.
So you said that you make sure he's comfortable and
Yeah.
you make sure all his needs are met.
Yes.
So what do you do for yourself?
That is a good question. I am learning. I just learned, probably within the last year to 2 years, how to ask for help. Before, it was extremely hard for me to say, listen, I am cracking and I need help. So I make it, well, my circle, my dad is very, very involved with me. Let's say, like, he knows how much Aiden is for me. So my father makes it his business. He's taking me to brunch all the time when Aiden is with his dad for that weekend. We go out on his boat. My father very, very much so makes sure that I'm taken care of as far as, like, doing things and being outside, because I am inside a lot, especially when Aiden's having a bad day and it's like, listen, I can't go, or we can't come, or we can't attend. But lately I've been really pouring into myself with I have this thing here that I found it. It's called a praise jar.
Oh, right.
And I made it years ago, and every day I would put something good about myself in it. If I was at the time that I started, I was in undergrad school. So I was struggling with trying to get my bachelor's degree and take care of him. So every day I would throw, you're fantastic, you're terrific, you're a good mom, so I put it away for whatever reason. I moved and it was downstairs in my basement. So a couple of weeks ago, I found it and I said, oh my God. So I went through all of the little Post-its that I put in there years ago, and I'm just bawling and I'm like, yes, I wrote that. I remember feeling like that. I remember. So right now for me is really recognizing that I'm so much more outside of being Aiden's mom, and um, being okay to let myself know that, and also really truly letting my team know that I am not okay. And one of the most important things now is rest. Like, I get 4 days out of the month, Aiden is with his dad. So people are like, oh my God, he's gone and you're not outside. No, I'm in the bed. I'm going to sleep. Sometimes I will sleep the entire weekend. I'll get up, shower, do whatever, get back in the bed or get in my recliner. I'm watching, I'm binge watching something, but rest has been so important to me. And before, I would feel so bad about taking a nap during the day, or, trying to if I'm not doing something, I would feel like I needed to be doing something. Now I definitely am more conscious about sitting down, resting, and making sure that I'm fulfilling myself in that area because I lacked it for so long. So right now, rest is where it's at for me.
That is excellent.
Yeah. So I had another question regarding that, because I think what you just said was just amazing, because a lot of moms just don't do that, and actually just don't know how to do that. And your transparency to be able to turn to your team and just let them know what's going on and how you're feeling, I commend you, because it took many a moon of years for me to be able to do that. So thank you for saying that, because a lot of people need to hear that. And I needed to hear that so that I keep doing it at this time.
You can never hear it too much.
Not at all. So thank you for that, though. But absolutely. I do have a question for you. What made you get to that point?
Of saying that I needed help?
Yes.
So maybe 2 Christmases ago, they go on Christmas break, the kids. And, for some families, it's, they're going to visit family, or, you're going, people are coming over and it's holiday time and all that. For us, it's kind of isolating because it's cold. So getting in the winter, his bones and everything are his muscles and stuff are kind of tighter. So he's a little bit more cranky. Let's just say that. So, but a few Christmases ago, it was days. I mean, Christmas break is what, like a week and a half or something like that. And Aiden was bored. He was extremely bored, and I can tell. And then being bored with him, he starts, being a little bit fussy and, wanting to kind of self-harm, or harm mommy sometimes. And my father came by, and it was in the process of Aiden having this big meltdown. And my father had never seen that part before. So he came in and he's kind of like, oh, he's fine. He's fine. And I was like, he's not fine. He's not fine. And I just remember saying, no one understands. No one knows what it's like to be confined to the house for days and days and days, and you just don't get it. You just don't get it. And I think, I scared him a little bit because he had never seen me break, like a lot of people never just saw me break. And from that point on, his perspective changed, his vision of, what I go through on a daily basis, but mine changed because it was like, I can't keep bottling how I feel up, because one of these times where if I do lose it, or if I whatever, like, what if I get sick and I'm in the hospital? Who's going to take care of Aiden? I can't keep pushing it down and suppressing it. Like, if I'm not in a good mood, I'm not in a good mood. If I don't feel well, I don't feel well. That moment really taught me that I need to take care of myself, which another entity of that is I'm in therapy. I cannot be without seeing my therapist every Friday at 11 o'clock. It's imperative. If I don't see her, for whatever reason, if she has to cancel or whatever, I'm very agitated. I can't function sometimes, unless I talk to her. So, but from that time until now, that's when I really realized that I have to start speaking up and saying, I need help. And sometimes people can't really do much, like, but my best friend, she'll come here. We're going to do movies at your house. Is Aiden in bed? Yeah, he's down for the night already. All right, cool. I'm bringing wine and we're going to order food and, we'll hang out. Those things are so important. They're small, but they're very important, but people don't know unless you say something. And we have to stop assuming that just because we live this complex life that people know that we're hurting or that we're tired because we wear it so well. We show up still looking beautiful and still, full of, personality and stuff. People tend to forget that when the door closes, we're still here. We're still human. We're still dealing with behavior issues and doctor's appointments and, all the things that come with being a special needs mom.
Wow. Listen, I really am like really emotional right now because the last 2 months was my breaking point. Like I've never got to the point that you're talking about, and it feels so good that somebody understands. Like
I get it.
I got to the point where I just really felt like I was losing my mind, like because Jermaine had some behaviors, and I didn't know where they were going because I saw how escalated it could get.
Right. Yes.
My anxiety took over. I lost 10 pounds last month. Like my anxiety overwhelmed me so much. Like I was just having like heart palpitations all the time, and I just couldn't manage my anxiety. Yeah. I've never felt anxiety, and people say they were anxious, and I would judge people sometimes. Now I know because I'm in that process now of managing it. And Pat came at the right time. Like how me and Pat met. Her husband is a childhood friend of mine. And he said, I want you to read my wife's book. Let me know what you think. Be honest. And I was like, oh, no, not another book to read.
When she said it like that.
But anyway, I said, let me read the book because it's Lenny. And that's my boy. Let me read the book. And I didn't know at the time. I knew she was a special needs mom because I saw pictures on Facebook and stuff with Lenny. But I didn't know the journey of what that looked like. And she had experienced things that I experienced. And when they came, when we did another podcast together, and the first thing she asked me was, "Are you okay? Like, how are you?" And I was like, "Ma'am, I'm not okay." And this is a stranger to me, but I was at a breaking point. But God, and there's another woman he sent to me last week. Her name is Kim. My best friend sent my information to her because I had got on the phone with my best friend, and I think I scared her. Because I told her, I lost 10 pounds in a month. And I was just rambling on. I didn't even think I was. And I was like, I'm not okay. I'm just anxious. And God is just sending people now because I'm in my mouth, like you said. I have suppressed. But everything that you said just now, it just really just made me like, I just feel like we're in a special place together.
Oh, we are like a secret society kind of. It's like, you don't get it, but she gets it. I know who's going to get it. If I know who I can call and I know they're going to get it, that I think is important for us the more that we share, I think the more comfortable we become with knowing and knowing that people are like us and that people are out there. And the losing it thing, it scares you. It scares you so much because the first thing I thought of was when I was losing it was they're going to take my son. I'm going to go absolutely nuts. And then they're going to come and take him from me because they're going to say that I'm an unfit mother. And then where is he going to go? So it is scary. And then when you say it out loud to somebody else, you don't really realize like, they're scared. I scared my father. I scared him to the point where he was shocked. Like, wait, is this the same girl that I come and I visit and I take to dinner and I do all these things with? And now she's in here in her pajamas having a meltdown, like it is real. So to be able to relate to just one person throughout the day is an absolute blessing because at least you know that you can go home and be like, all right, me and Trey talked about it. we're good now. we're all good now. Everyone is fine. Now we can move on. But it's scary when you hold it in so long and then you explode and you realize like you can't do that, you know?
When you realize you just can't do any more. Like
More.
shared with me that when she had that breaking point, and Pat, you could share when you were at the hospital that time, and it was just all too much. Like,
So I had spent 30 days in critical care with my son.
Oh gosh.
Gastro issues, and he ended up with an ileostomy, and he has a VP shunt due to hydrocephalus. So they had to externalize that was hanging out of his head until they could replace it. It was just the longest 30 days of my life. Things that I saw that I never ever want to see again, because I'm not a doctor nor a nurse. I'm a mom. So to see these things, I was just like, okay. And then to be told, well, this is what you're going to have to do moving forward. Yeah. You're just, and then on top of it, it was Omicron. So they shut down the hospital.
Oh gosh.
I'm there by myself, making all these decisions. Like, I'm calling my husband, I'm calling my daughter, and they're like saying, like, no, don't do this, or no, don't do that. But they don't know what I'm actually seeing, what I'm feeling. And then just looking at my son, because let me just say this to you. I was in awe of the video that Trey has sent me of you and your baby. You were having a conversation about some things, and just watching the communication and just seeing how you guys related to one another was so amazing. It was really amazing. So I say that to say, like, when I was watching my son going through what he was going through, I can see this look on his face where he was just saying, like, this needs to be, like, he was telling me it's okay.
It's okay. Yes.
Yes. So even though I'm one end, I have people who are telling me don't do something. I had him telling me to go ahead. But like I said, it was the longest 30 days.
I can imagine.
The longest 30 days in critical care, and like all types of fear was setting in, because like I said, things I was just seeing. Anyway, I got him home and he ate something, and unfortunately, I don't want to, say anything that's uncomfortable for anyone. But when you have an ostomy, everything just comes right out. So like you see it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no like covering up. If it's that color, you're gonna see it from the color that is coming out. So gave him some red Gatorade, but I'm new to this. I'm 3 weeks in. I'm just like, okay. And then me and the nurse that I'm with, I'm saying, I think he's bleeding. And she's like, well, I don't know. And we're like, well, what do you do? What do you do if you think your child is bleeding internally? You take him to the hospital, right? Yes. But when we pulled up, me and my husband, in front of the emergency room, I went into a straight panic attack. Like, I didn't think I would. And I've never left my son's side. There's not been a time that Brandon has been in the hospital where I could say that I was just like, okay, you take him. Normally, I'm like, no, I got this. Right. I'm going in. I'm the one that's handling it. I didn't do it. The car, I was like, I got this. I didn't have it. I got out the car, knees trembled, body started shaking. I was like, I can't do it. I can't take him. Like, I'm just like, it was really bad. So my husband went with him. And I'm so grateful and thankful for him. And long story short, it was just Gatorade, right? But
you didn't know. You didn't know.
We still talk about that. We still talk about that. Because I'm like, you gotta come home from work. Oh, I'm just having this. It was it's just a moment, okay. But just like the breakdown that I had at the hospital, it just let me know how bad it was. Because I had said when I got home that once I get him stable, because he didn't stabilize for like another month or two. And I was determined to get my baby on, get his weight back up and, just get him right, at least somewhat to baseline with the new lifestyle we had. And I knew it was bad and I knew I needed to go to therapy. But that day let me know, when tomorrow morning comes, you need to pick up the phone and call somebody, because what just happened outside that hospital shouldn't happen. Because unfortunately with Brandon, we've had multiple surgeries and he has things going on with him that are going to require continuous medical treatment and care.
Right.
can't be falling out in front of no hospital, in front of nobody. Because like you said, they're gonna be like, something wrong with her. And while I'm on the 5th floor somewhere, they're gonna have him on another floor.
We can't
So
do
I was like, this ain't going down.
You don't got no time for that. You have no time for that.
No, you don't. So yeah.
So the video I sent Pat was the video when your son was mad at you because
he was at the doctor.
He was ashy with you.
Now all I know is his body language and them eyes. He doesn't speak, so I have to literally pay attention to him, and he was hot. Like,
girl, we saw he rolled his eyes.
We had another doctor's appointment and you didn't tell me? Like, it was definitely written all over his face. Today was the same exact thing. But today was a little bit better because the doctors weren't like pulling on him and stuff. It was really just to talk to me about a procedure that they want him to have. So today was fine, but usually he knows when we pull up to the doctor's office. But that day, I don't know. I think he was just overwhelmed and was like, you got me up in here again. And you know how I feel about these people. And as he gets older, obviously his personality he's a teenager still, he still has teenager tendencies and he still gets in his feelings. And that day, yes, he was definitely in his feelings.
How do you manage the anxiety of not knowing if he's going to have a behavior? How do you manage that for yourself?
Prayer.
Wow.
Well, and what I've done lately with him is that Aiden is he's a morning person, but I can still tell if it's going to be a temporary morning, good morning temporarily, or is it going to be like that for the day? I'm learning him more and more every day. So I go in obviously with prayer, but I always can gauge him when he wakes up, because he always wakes up before me. So I can peek in his room and I can kind of tell how things are going to go. But now, since he's on medication for behavior, which I was really, really scared about a few years ago, but it got to that point where it was like, no, I can't. He has to be regulated in some way, shape, or form. So now that he's on a good regimen as far as his medication goes, he's kind of more evened out. So we don't have as many behavioral issues. One thing that I do know is if we're home too long. So if we're home for days at a time, like on those breaks, I have to entertain him more. I do know that Aiden loves music. He loves like James Brown, Earth, Wind, and Fire. He's one of those kids. So I definitely make sure we got playlists going and just positive thinking. Also, I really, truly think that a change of mindset can really help. Like, we're going to have a good day. No, we're going to have a good day. Mommy said we're going to have a good day. And, redirecting him when he's not in the best of moods, trying to redirect him too is helping a lot, and redirecting myself. Sometimes when I have those negative thoughts or I hear him banging on his wall in the morning, because that means it's time for me to go upstairs and get him. When he starts banging, it sounds like a gavel in the courtroom. I'm laying in the bed like this, like, we're going to have a good day. It's going to be a good day. We're going to have a good day. So sometimes I think it's just mindset too. Put yourself in that space where you don't think anything negative.
Girl, that elbow, he'll bang his elbow on the wall, and it sends my anxiety to 1 million trillion.
I know.
I'm like, oh no, how far is this gonna go? And I'm like, all right, I'm talking to myself now, like on a regular. Like, you're okay. I'm sniffing oils, like I'm have peppermint oil. I'm like, you gotta breathe. Like, you're okay. Calm down. Like, I'm like,
anything. Let's try anything at this point.
Calm down. Like last night, he was banging his knee on the floor, and I was just like, before bed, and I'm just like, oh no, and I'm just like, chill.
Yes.
That you
it's hard though, and it's hard when it's what they do. It's like,
Yes.
It's hard to tell them not to when it's sometimes Aiden, like when he stimming, he likes to bang. He likes to boom, 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 boom. And for me, it's like,
right.
all I want to do is watch Housewives, and this is going on in the background.
So the thing is, so the crazy thing is, so he has, I'm not sure if he's on a spectrum, but he has behavioral issues and he has medical issues.
Yes.
So I'm dealing with mostly behavior, and Pat is dealing with medical. So it's funny that you can relate
combined
on all levels. Yes.
Like,
put it together.
How are you doing that? Because you're dealing with medical as well as behavioral.
I think now I'm just kind of like used to it. I think that the medical.
Wait. Hold on, Pat. Wait a minute. We're gonna stop. We're not getting used to this.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not okay. I'll rephrase that.
Okay.
I am learning how to deal with it better. Yes. So now that the behavior issues have kind of like took a back seat, they're not as often, put it that way. The meltdowns are more when he's out of routine, like on those long school breaks. Now with medical, since he is in a wheelchair, he has scoliosis, which is what we just were discussing today. So his spine is curving and his legs are really, really tight. So the orthopedic surgeon is like, listen, we got to go in. His knees are too high. We got to drop his knees down. We have to do this and do that. He's 4 inches shorter than he should be. He should be here. So hearing all this today, I heard it before, but I let it go through one ear and out the other a while ago. But it came back up, and now he's a young man. These are things that have to be done in order for his quality of life to be better. I don't want him to be walking around hunchback and then he's in pain, because that's the way that it's looking right now. Like he's crouched down so much. So for them to say, oh, it's a 4-hour procedure on both legs. Then he's going to be in ICU for 4 days. Then we have to go to children's special. He has to be inpatient at children's specialized for 6 weeks. He's going to have to learn how to use his legs all over again. And I'm just like, so for me now, it's more medical stuff.
We're here for you. And Pat can relate because Pat told me a story too. And all of this is like crazy, right, Pat? She told me a story about how she saw the X-ray.
So Brandon has scoliosis. He had scoliosis as well. But at the time, he was having a shunt revision. And while the doctor was explaining to me, like, well, I put the shunt in and I threaded it through and, we got the whole X-ray going up there. The only thing I can see was my baby's spine, because what had ended up happening was they were telling me for years that I needed to handle this. And what started happening though, he wasn't able to walk no more than 2 blocks. So Brandon doesn't walk independently, but we have him walk, we hold his hand or whatever. Yes. But it got to the point that his breathing, he started having issues with his breathing.
Oh, wow.
So I knew it was coming, but after seeing his spine in that X-ray, I automatically knew something just said, it's time, right? So I knew what I had to do. And yeah, it was a long procedure and we were at Children's as well. Yeah, it was another one of those moments in my life, but we got through by the grace of God. We definitely got through.
I don't want him to be locked in. So if it is to the point where I don't have much choice, like I don't want it to be where it's like, okay, well, his spine is already curved at 30%. If we get to 45, without him having a back brace, which is what he got fitted for today, we want the brace to kind of keep him from progressing to the 40s, because then we'll have to definitely think about spine surgery. Then one of his hips goes out, which is causing the spine to curve. So he's got to get these braces for his legs, which he wears braces already, but these are going to go from the hip down he's going to be like my little Forrest Gump. That's all I could think of is when Forrest had on those leg braces to keep his legs straight. That's what we're looking at right now. So yeah, the medical stuff is rearing its ugly head, whereas before it was just behavioral and keeping him content and calm. Now it's more of, you don't want one thing to affect another thing. So we need to stay on top of this thing so that it doesn't bleed into another issue that he may end up having. And with his disorder, they don't really know like what comes with it. You know, like with this rare thing, I think there's only like 200 kids in the world with this specific disorder. They don't know whether, you know, as he grows, will he have like heart issues? Will he have, you know, the studies are still so new that they don't really know what is to come, you know? So it's always a not knowing, you know, like, oh gosh, is this due to his, you know, disorder, or is this because of something that I'm doing? No, it's probably because of, you know, just the fact that he doesn't walk independently and he sits all the time. So now we're dealing with spine and, you know, lower extremity issues and stuff like that. So the not knowing what's to come, I think, is where the anxiety sets in, because as much as he's doing okay behavioral wise, and I'm able to clap back at him a little bit, you know, like when he gets into his way, I'm like, absolutely not this morning. We're not doing it. And he'll kind of look at me like, all right, fine, you know, but he'll give me that look like, oh, no, she didn't. Yes, this morning, I'll say, not today. We're not doing that today. But so the behavioral is okay. It's just now the physical stuff that I don't know what's to come. I just want to make sure that I stay on top of what I do know already so that it doesn't, you know, he doesn't get worse.
So I have a question, because he has that a rare disease.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found a support group for moms with the children that have that same disease?
I have. However, most of them are in the UK.
Wow.
There's maybe about 15 of us that are here across the US, but most of them are in the UK. So we have the disorder that he has. There's a whole group of us, you know, we're called the B moms because Grin 2B. So we have all types of stuff, but we don't really get together locally because everyone is so spread out. But we do, like, if we go to the support group in a minute, hey, my son's eye is wandering. Does anyone have, you know, does any one of your Bs have vision issues? Or my son was just diagnosed with apraxia. Is anyone, you know, dealing with speech? Like, we definitely connect in that way, to where I asked about spine issues, and a lot of them said, yeah, the brace helps, but you got to keep it on him 20 hours a day in order for him not to get worse, you know? So yeah, there's definitely a support group. There's a few. And with the fact that Aiden's one of his schoolmates, she doesn't live close, but she definitely lives in Jersey. So we do see each other in passing, or, you know, we'll hit each other up on Facebook and stuff like that. But they're still doing so much research. They're still doing so many tests. And Aiden's pediatrician that told me that he did not have CP, he's very, 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 I'll say he's very thorough. So he's affiliated with Children Specialized. So when rare things and rare cases come to him, he's like a mad scientist. He needs to know all the stuff. Oh, I'm going to send you to CHOP for this research thing. Oh, and I think that they're doing a good study here in Boston. And he's one of those doctors that's really pushing for, you know, you to get the answers that you would like to get, you know, as far as the disorder goes. But it's hard too. And then, you know, I still work, you know, I'm a life coach, and I work for Children's Specialized Hospital as a family navigator. So, you know, I'm calling families every day, making sure that they know about this, that resource, that, you know, you can get housing assistance, you know, you can get this. So it's still where I have to live and take care of us. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it's it's a balance. It's definitely a balancing act, but the support group for him for his disorder is pretty big. It is.
I was just going to ask you how you balancing it. I was just going to say, how would you do it? How you balance
So
it?
one thing for me, so I've been with children since 2017. So I was the unit secretary in Mountainside and long-term care. That's where I started. So that's where I saw all of the children that are, severe and that, their quality of life is pretty low. And, that's where they go. It's a nursing home for children, basically.
Okay.
That's where I started. Then I left to take care of Aiden and get my bachelor's. Then I went back as family faculty for children specialized, which family faculty are moms that have children with special needs that are patients of children's that work they're on a team, and they provide in person support. So let's say a mom is there and she just got diagnosed, her child just got diagnosed with autism. They would call somebody from family faculty to come downstairs, sit with mom, give her resources. So now I left that position, came home, got my master's. Then I went back. Now I'm a family navigator, which is similar. I just can do it from home. So that's
Wow.
one of my requirements now is I need to be able to work from home. It's not even a want, it's a need. Like I need to be here. I need to get Aiden off the bus. Can't play with my baby, getting him on and off the bus. That's my thing. No one else is allowed to do it. That's just what it is. So I need to work between those hours. And luckily with children's, they know that I have a kid that goes there. They know that I'm going to need certain time and hours. And they've always been flexible and nice about, these positions, because every position has been flexible. So I'm lucky to have employment that is child friendly, and then more on top of it, special needs child friendly. And my son goes to the hospital. So, it doesn't really get any better than that,
If you could say one thing that we all need as special needs moms, what would that be? If we could get that thing, like if we all were putting a list together of, I think we all need this, I think we all need that, what would the one thing you think that we all need?
I think we all need understanding, and empathy. And I say that because one thing that I'll use an example. My father has a deck on the back of his house, right? And I told him, I said, you should get a ramp. You can make a deck look really nice with a ramp on it, like a wooden ramp or whatever. And he kind of looked at me like, why? And I said, well, Dad, I said, I want people to understand that there's always a chance that you can end up like me. There's always a chance that, God forbid, you get into a car accident, brain aneurysm, anything could happen, and your life could immediately end up like the life that I'm living. So instead of looking at it like, why would I put a ramp on the back of my deck? Why wouldn't you? You never know if you're going to need it. You just got two hip surgeries or whatever. It would have been very beneficial for you to have a ramp, So I think understanding, and the fact that it's important for you to know and understand, like, you can always be on this side of it. Just know eventually you are going to need that help. Eventually you're going to need someone to take care of you. It's going to be, imperative that you have somebody around that if God forbid something happens, they're there to help support and take care of you. So I think we all need understanding. We need people to truly understand that it's not reversible for us, but it's definitely reversible for you. And if you understand that more and you take that more into consideration, then perhaps you would have a softer spot in your heart, or a more, sincere way of thinking about families that have medically complex or behaviorally complex children.
We just want to really thank you so much for just being here with us. I mean, this has been therapy for me. This has really.
Me too.
Definitely. It's been enlightening. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Of course, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was a good time.
Good. And that's what we want this to be. We want this to be a place to release, heal, grow, and know that you are loved, heard, and understood, like you said. And nobody's going to understand a special needs mom like another special needs mom.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we never ever want to leave out the special needs dads, the special needs siblings, and the caregivers. But there is a certain thing as moms that being a mother is the hardest job in the world.
It
So
is.
Special needs mom.
Yes.
So I just want everybody to know you're not alone.
Yes.
You're doing better than you think. And remember, together is always better than trying to do it alone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Special Needs Mom Show. Yes. I'm your host, Trey Kearney. This is my co-host,
Pat Ward.
And always remember, together is better. We'll see you next time. Peace and blessings.
Yes.